Very good. Okay, very good.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Hard Factor presented by the Barstool News Network. It is Tuesday, November 24th, 2020. Boys, we got Pat, Mark, and Will in the house today. Wes is fiddling his thumbs on those on that camera of his, working a wedding. We have Senator Shoshana, third-time guest in the back half of the pod today. So
and if you haven't heard Shoshana on the show, Will, can you give an intro, because we kind of just jump right into it?
Yeah, she's the social media director and a fellow at the R Street Institute, which is a major lobbying firm, making her much more in the know than any of us on what's going on Capitol Hill, and especially in the area of big tech. What's happening in the big tech hearings. She is an expert. So
regulations and such, right? She deals with regulations, policies.
Right. So, as a lobbyist, she's working with different, industries that want representation and on Capitol Hill so that they can work with mostly limiting probably new regulations on their industry. Right. That's typically how that goes. It just depends on who you're lobbying for. But in this instance, big tech and not wanting Section 230 to be repealed. So we'll get into that.
Can you put this in context of Warren G and Nate Dogg, the regulators? Yeah. So she's anti Nate Dogg.
Well,
Nate
regulators,
Dogg, right?
In this case, regulators would be the regulators mounting up would be the senators who want to yell at Jack and Zuck about how they should be responsible for the content on their platforms. And Shoshana would be like, fuck you, regulators. Section 230 exists for a reason because they're
mount down.
To be, yeah.
So Shoshana is like, she's like the bad boy entertainment to the regulators' death row.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Bad boy for life.
Well, I'm pumped. I'm pumped because it's Thanksgiving week. It's just it's a couple days away. I got pies today for Thanksgiving. I'm picking up Hoover's fully catered meal on Wednesday tomorrow.
Oh, shout out Hoover's.
I mean, I have
awesome.
This is the week, one of my favorite weeks, if not my favorite week of the year. I love Christmas too, but it's such a week where you just want to imbibe early and often. It's a damn shame we got this weigh-in on Wednesday because I just want to start drinking cocktails early.
Ooh, yeah, weigh-in half marathon. That's gonna be crazy.
It's possible if depending. Okay, so I'm landing in Knoxville on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
And then I need to quarantine from my family for like a day before
you could do a
go see them.
quarantine half marathon.
Well, I got to get a test. So what? Okay, but check it out. Here's what's cool. Last time I was in Knoxville, Kate and I went up this mountain. And I'm checking to see how long it is because I might be able to jog the half marathon down the mountain. And
nice.
But I think it might be like
miles
5 miles because then I'll probably have to get somebody to drive me back up the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, no, what you do is you do 5 miles down and then just like find the flattest.
Just do a circle.
Rest of it, the flattest 8 miles you can find.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go across the street and go to my
the track,
the track.
13 miles on the track.
I think I'm just gonna walk 13 miles on the track.
Whoa! How long do you think that's gonna take you? I set the over for myself at 3.5 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours. You're thinking, yeah. I'm thinking 3.5 to 4. I'm gonna try to jog it.
I'm gonna be very malnourished because I'm gonna be starving myself leading up to it, so that doesn't help.
Yes, we will be on empty stomachs for sure. But yeah,
and then it's booze town.
Exactly, and it's called the Nardini Blackout Half Marathon. You can sign up for that. I tweeted out the link. It's on. If you just Google it, you can find it. And then we're gonna black out afterwards. I think that's
Wednesday night through Saturday night. I will be partying.
Oh, you know what makes that even better? The hat hits the Barstool store this week. The much anticipated hat. We think we're working on getting it in there. And it's
happening.
Remember to watch out for big savings this weekend in the Barstool store. Everywhere else, of course, as well. Black Friday, load up this season because we've got some fire merch, including that hat. And the boys are up for a contract review next month. So support the boys. Load up on merch. It's looking good. Let's get into the stories, fellas. We got 3 good ones, and then we got Senator Shoshana in the back half. I'm going first with Biden's cabinet. So on, let's see, what day? Monday. On Monday, Joe Biden, president-elect, announced his cabinet. He had announced, I think the guy's name is Ron Klain as his chief of staff, which wasn't a surprise. And that was the only person he had said before, which was
how old is this Klain guy?
Klain. I forget Klain's exact stats, but basically that wasn't a surprise. It was his former chief of staff. It was just like, okay, Klain's my guy. Klain's coming back. So that was a nothing.
He's got to be north of 60, Pat.
59. He looks young.
Okay.
He looks youngish. Okay.
All right.
59. Okay, but now we have pictures for all the new announcements. So now what we have is the new Secretary of State. His name is Tony Blinken, and he was the deputy Secretary of State under Obama. And you see his name there is Antony Blinken. And so there was a lot of jokes about A. Blinken, or what kind of a psycho doesn't have H in Anthony, but he goes by Tony. So it's really T. Blinken.
This is like what the name you sign up for when you when you sign a waiver, but you don't want to give any real information. Yeah, I'm A. Blinken.
A. Blinken. Yeah. It is a great abbreviation if you just
Stinking Blinken. That's not what to call him.
Stinking Blinken. You can call him whatever you want. He'll be
unless he's doing good. I'm
State.
gonna call him Thinking Blinken.
Wild hair on him too. He had some hair.
He has a nice head of hair, nice mop, nice lettuce on him.
If I find out that he likes to do weird stuff in the bedroom, I'm going to call him Kinkin Blinken.
Kinkin Blinken.
And it goes on, guys. And it goes on.
German porn.
Good first draft pick. Love a rhyming name.
Yeah.
Love a name that's easy to rhyme with.
It is good. Also, I want you guys to note he was the first deputy secretary of the same position under Obama, and you'll see that trend continues. So the national security advisor is Jake Sullivan.
Like he would be drinking. He would be drinking Blinken if he hung out with Kavanaugh.
And really, we've got to look at this from the perspective of how do we make fun of these guys for the next 4 years. Okay, so
Jake Sullivan.
Back to Sullivan.
You can just go with standard lawyer nerd. I don't think there's anything else.
Sully. You could do the Monsters Inc. and just dress up like Sully all the time, or give him Sully gear. The guy from, I think that's John Goodman's character. In
yeah, Sully's a classic for a Sully.
I'm gonna put this out here that he's from Money, and I'll tell you why. So on his,
good call.
His Google Knowledge panel, right? Okay.
Oh, you want to hear what his job was the last 4 years? I'll tell you after you're done.
Okay, so Knowledge panel. If you guys don't know, it's the thing that pops up in Google that gives you like fast facts about a person. If you Google it, that's what we're putting up on screen here. If you check out the YouTube, so it lists his education as it does for everyone. Yale Law School, normal, but it also lists his high school. Southwest High School. And that's why I think he's got some cash. Whenever it lists your high school there, it means you're from good stock. It means not putting Herndon High School on our bios.
So you know what else makes me believe that Jake Sullivan has a lot of cash is because he took over Obama's job at some kind of like strategic like PAC type thing for the last 4 years. Yeah, he's been just taking in money hand over fist.
Also, the Sullivan Trust that he's a part of.
He's the guy's got unlimited money. He probably has a lot. This last election was probably good for old Jake. Director of National Intelligence, top spy, is going to be Avril Haines if she gets approved by the Senate, I guess. And the big news about this, she'll be the first woman to hold the job. Of course, we interviewed Rick Grinnell, the first gay person to hold the job, and then Avril Haines would be the first woman. So we'd have to try to get her on.
And what is she? She's the what?
The top spy, Director of National Intelligence.
Man. So it's going to be like, look who's got Haines on you now. There's something there. And it's Avril, right? Not Avril.
I was thinking Avril Lavigne.
Is it? Yeah. Well, how do you say Avril? You say Avril?
Well, we only know one Avril, and it's pronounced Avril. Now we have two Avrils here.
I like Avril personally. I don't know. She could tell me. I like the hard A's. You know me out here in Nevada.
But Stains Haines.
So she was the former she was the former
I hope she doesn't have a stain on her record, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Deputy National Security Advisor under Obama. Again, what a trend. Okay, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary is Alejandro Mayorkas, and he was the Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security under Obama. Again, about 60 years old, last Democratic administration.
This one's easy. You just play Lady Gaga's Alejandro. Alejandro. I
think you call him the mayor. That's what you call him. The Mayorkas, you call him the mayor. Is the mayor in town?
Yeah. New mayor in town.
I like his name the best so far with things you can do with it.
Really, I like Blinken's the best.
Well, Blinken's is very good, but that's just easy. That's such low hanging fruit. You got to use
Alejandro and Mayorkas. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is. There's a lot.
Bring a little spice into the cabinet. He was born in communist Cuba. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know about that.
May be that may be a first for.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations is Linda Thomas Greenfield. She was the Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs under Obama. So another, basically promotion from the Obama administration, and Louisiana State University education. So
go Tigers, baby.
LTG, the litigator.
I was immediately going LTG there.
LTG.
Yeah,
huge LTG.
She might have the best one, LTG. And she's a Tiger, so you got to love that. Special Presidential Envoy on Climate, a.k.a. the Climate Czar, is going to be John Kerry. And
we know him.
You know John Kerry, the guy who's been in the Democratic Party for 85 years, even though he's only 76.
The Democrats, Mitt Romney?
Yeah, exactly. Except somehow older. He's tasked with putting America back into the
Why the long
Paris
face, John?
Climate Accord.
Come on, you're Secretary of State. Why the long face? Fuck up.
Yeah. And basically, like I said, fellas, there was a trend, and all 6 of Biden's national security picks held senior roles in the Obama administration.
These guys all were just waiting to get a phone call after the election results.
Yeah. So I mean,
nice.
This is the plan. Biden is basically trying to just, he's sending in the car with all of the people he's familiar with, taking it to the internet per intern Bubba. This is Joe's favorite line that's matching up with what he's trying to do right now. He says, I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but to unify, who doesn't see red and blue states, but a United States, and who will work with all my heart to win the confidence of the whole people.
Come on, Jack. There are red states.
No,
there's not blue states. There's United States, man.
Yeah, it United States,
pretty good,
man.
Mark.
Mark, that was really good.
Try it again.
I got to work on it.
No, I can't do that now.
Yeah, it's a one-off. He's got to practice it.
It is the United States, man, but I wouldn't expect that to be any truer than with any other president, since you see every single cabinet appointment is a blue team lifer. So if there's one thing that Trump taught me, it's that the two-party system wins. No matter who's in there, how much they amplify it, in the end, the two parties ain't going anywhere, and they each bring in their own teams to the Oval Office.
I got a couple questions for you, Will. First of all, why is it that yesterday there were so many pictures flooding Twitter of John Kerry awkwardly or not being able to catch a football properly?
Oh, just because John Kerry's a funny guy. Like, why the long face? I think, John Kerry's a comical character.
Why were there so many photo ops of him catching a football inadequately? Like, it's just
was it from the same shoot, or was it over the years?
No, multiple different shoots of him not being able to catch.
I mean, specifically, why did Barstool News Network hit him with all of the funny soccer and football pictures? Because they're funny.
Awesome.
There's a lot.
It's the same reason you asked him why the long face, because
sounds
he's a
like
funny
John Kerry
guy.
Thinks he's an athlete, bit of an athlete.
Second question.
Do you guys remember the leather jacket motorcycle shoot that lost him his presidential election? Anyhow, that's another photo op. I mean, he's the king of fucking up photo ops.
But this is this the full cab or no? This is not the full cab.
Oh my God! Look at the eye close. Oh, he closes his eyes when he catches the ball. Yeah. Oh no!
Yeah, probably not a good thing. You want to keep your eyes on the ball. Also, doesn't put his hands in front of his face, which is not the sign of a receiver. He catches with his chest.
I think he went 2 for 4 on those catches.
You got to watch the ball in.
Left's a drop.
Not an athlete.
That's day one of practice.
Not a receiver. Not a receiver.
You got to see the ball into your chest. So is this the full cab, Will?
No, there's still more cabinet picks to come, including who runs the Pentagon, who runs, Department of Education, Energy. There's a lot of big picks, a lot of feelings on the line.
Because I noticed no Buttigieg, and also it is tradition, a tradition that Trump broke, but it's tradition normally to bring in a member of the opposite party to sit in your cabinet. I wonder
none
if
yet. Yeah,
none yet. Okay,
and that's what I'm saying. With this whole I only see one color. I see purple states. It's just boilerplate language. I mean, it's just
so far he's done a pretty good job of getting no namers with funny names in. So we'll see what he does with the rest.
And
I
think we're all in agreement that LTG, that's a good one. Alejandro Mayorkas, and then also Abe Lincoln.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys.
Well done, Will. We'll get you. You got to do the second half next week or whenever.
Oh, I'll keep, whatever. I can be the cabinet guy.
You're cabinet guy. Yeah.
Let's name the cabinet, like the liquor cabinet or the prize cabinet or the I don't know.
Obama's cabinet.
Obama's cabinet.
Yeah,
the Obama's cabinet
2.0.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
So, guys, when I think about bonehead moves in business, I think about Ronald Wayne. If the name doesn't ring a bell, he's the third founder of Apple Computer Company, along with the Steves, Jobs, and Wozniak.
Oh,
and
no.
12 days after founding the company, he sold 10% of his share of the new company back to Jobs and Wozniak for $800. And 1 year later, he accepted a final $1,500 settlement to forfeit any potential future claims against the newly incorporated Apple, totaling $2,300 for his 10% share. Had he held out, it would have been a little closer to $95 billion. Whoops.
Whoa.
Oh man, that's painful to hear.
Sorry. Yeah. And of course he's like, well, I don't regret a thing. He regrets everything. Guys, now the stakes of the bonehead business move in our next story aren't as catastrophic, but still next level dumb. I want to introduce you to Tony Pilosino, who's a senior at Ohio University, who had been employed part-time at a Sherwin-Williams paint store for about the last 3 years as a senior sales associate. And in addition to slanging paint, Tony had started a TikTok channel called Tonester Paints, where he would mix up different colors of Sherwin-Williams paint to create like 6 new colors and sometimes like a bowling ball-esque swirl that would make Bigger and McCracken blush. And his TikTok channel has amassed over 1.4 million followers and 24 million likes. So pretty impressive work here.
Yeah, we're watching a little bit of it right now, youtube.com/hardfactornews, and it is mesmerizing.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So
my grandfather worked for Sherwin-Williams.
Yeah, well, he's going to regret that he ever did. Just keep listening.
Oh, no.
Guys, with an insane following like this, Tony figured, man, maybe I've got something here. Maybe I can parlay this social media channel, which is, by the way, bigger than all of Sherwin-Williams' official accounts combined, like by a lot, by 0.3 million or 300,000. Because, who the fuck wants to watch paint dry, right? Am I right? Like, this guy's innovating, of course.
He's at the mixing machine. Yeah.
I love new colors. Like whenever, like back in the day, give me the 96 box of Crayolas, the 124. Give me
what this
bigger, more colors.
What this
colors.
is he's just in the most interesting visually part of the whole process.
Right.
And he's taking advantage of it.
He's making paint cool again. And the last time it was cool, it was huffing it. Right.
So when my grandfather worked for them.
It's positive. Anyway, yeah, seriously.
When it was lead and you could get poisoning from it.
That's right.
Drank it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You add up their Instagram, their Twitter, and their Facebook, less than 1.4 million by a lot. Anyway, so he figured, yeah, man, maybe I'll do something with this. Anyway, the lady doth protest a little bit too much, because when he made S. Williams aware that they had in-house talent who was making, I don't know, $15 an hour that could revolutionize their social game, it ended up leading to him getting paint canned.
They fired him?
They fired him, guys. See, he made a pitch deck to show the company how they could market through TikTok, and gave it to his supervisor, who was like, this is cool, man. You got 1.4 million followers. Fucking dope.
That's what they call it in Pennsylvania. TikTok.
TikTok. Hey, you on the TikTok? You doing the stories on TikTok? Anyway, he passed.
Beat your ass and put it on TikTok.
He passed the deck to his supervisor, who passed it up the ladder, and there was essentially no response. Although he did get the head of marketing's email, and he sent a couple emails saying, hey, man, what's up? No response neither.
This guy should have been hired as the head of marketing.
100, right? Instead, he got a call from the loss prevention department at Sherwin-Williams saying corporate had determined that he was, quote, making these videos during company work hours.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
And with company equipment.
Sherwin-Williams.
To 1.4 million people that saw Sherwin-Williams paint cans.
Right,
exactly. They all had the branding, I'm sure.
That's
basically,
the best marketing they've ever had.
That's what I'm saying. Sherwin-Williams has had fucking probably 10 years with their social accounts. And
this is the worst marketing they've ever had, is firing this guy.
Big time.
Yeah.
So the official reason for termination was gross misconduct, which included the offenses of wasting properties and facilities, which is, time and energy.
They fired this dude during COVID?
Yeah, and seriously embarrassing the company or its product.
So much worse.
What the fuck?
Yeah, bro. So essentially, they came at him because they accused him of stealing. So Piloseno told BuzzFeed News, who covered this story, he did admit to filming TikToks while he was already mixing paints for customers who'd paid for them, right? It's like not his paint. But then when he started posting on his channel in December 2019 and he realized that it grew, he started buying the paint himself. So if he was going to do a mix, he'd buy it with his employee discount himself. But Sherwin-Williams came back and said they fired him because of a customer complaint. Nice guys, fucking dumbass shit. He went on to say, quote, "They first accused me of stealing. I told them I purchased all my paint." He said they made me answer a bunch of questions like what I was doing, when I was doing it, and if there's anyone else in the store while I was filming it. Anyway, these fucking idiots.
So they went through with this whole thing. I mean,
they had a gold mine under their roof and they canned him, man.
That's stupid of them.
They canned him. Well, another paint pun. Look, that was stupid. The internet is not happy with them. They got ratioed to high hell all day. The other day because of firing him. Like ratio of more comments than likes.
Well, he's probably, what is he going to work at Barstool? Does he work at Barstool yet? Or
I think Erica,
we don't have like
I think Erica was recruiting him, or like she was talking about it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it just seems like something that could happen. He's going to get scooped up by somebody, obviously, with his 1.4 million followers.
Dude, it's in-house talent. These
So
fucking idiots, man.
They could have just changed his thing to their main handle.
They could have done it for $100,000.
Yeah, how out of touch are they? They're like, we just have to give him a small raise. This guy.
I think
exists.
I saw intern Cam texted earlier that Sherwin-Williams has a 25-person marketing team who this one dude could have probably replaced by himself.
Right, and the marketing guy wrote back like, "There's no promotion, so we can't help you. Like, just he's fired. Get that guy fucking out of here."
Wow.
What a move! What a move!
Okay,
Williams.
last one before the interview with Senator Shoshana. This one comes from listener Phil Gabriel, who I'm just going to refer to as Peter Gabriel, if that's okay. So thank you for your submission, Peter Gabriel. We're going to take it up to North Canada for this one to check in on a bunch of heroes in Toronto. Toronto carpenter Khalil Sievewright, knowing it's freezing season and that there are a lot of homeless people going through a hard time during COVID and all, decided to put his skills to good use and started digging in the dirt to build mini shelters for the homeless. Here's a picture of the little structures. Probably has it. Yeah, it's like, it looks like one of those tiny homes if you've seen those shows. And this thing caught on big time, guys.
So like a shed you build in your backyard.
It's a little short. I don't want to criticize. It's a little short, but okay.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's got a window. That's pretty fancy.
Yeah. I don't know where the bathroom is, but it's cool. It caught on big time, guys, as thousands picked up their sledgehammers to help
the woods,
Khalil. You're right. There you go.
Surrounding the shed.
To help Khalil demolish then construct these things, they bought materials and a GoFundMe, which fetched more than $150,000, as it seems like everyone, I guess, has been reading from the Book of Love this holiday season. Wait, maybe not everyone, as the Toronto Parks, Forestry and Recreation Department, I guess, wrote a 28-page document saying the city has not issued permits or in any way consented to the placing of these structures on its property. The city of Toronto therefore demands that you immediately cease the production, distribution, supply, and installation of such shelters for the purposes of placement and use on city property. Should you fail to do so, the city may, among other remedies, hold you responsible for the cost of removal of such structures.
Yeah, not surprising. We talked earlier this week about how people really we've seen instances of homeless shelters being placed in bad areas. Not surprising that a city totally blocks somebody from creating impromptu homeless shelters.
Yeah, did they put in the end of their statement, we acknowledge that we've had 50 years to deal with poverty in our city, and this is Canada, and we still haven't figured it out, but you can't help people that need fucking help.
Well, in your eyes, Will, and the eyes of some of the other residents, they thought, the crime might go up. So you're not the only one there, Will.
Yeah, it's totally not surprising.
Ruthless stuff, though, from a group of authoritative figures that do not reside on Mercy Street. Sounds like they're playing a game without frontiers to me. The local residents are furious and are saying, don't give up to Khalil the carpenter, though. Let's take it to the internet. And
so Khalil was like,
and here comes the
build
flood.
Structures on not my land. And then I'm going to have other people squat in them and do drugs.
Khalil said winter is coming, and it's Canada, is what he said.
There are two sides to the argument.
Let's see what the Canadian internet has to say about this move. Here comes the flood, guys. David Cassell says, wait, take that one down real quick, Bubba. We got one before that one. David Cassell says, John, housing is a human right, so we are going to turn the Toronto sign red for one day while simultaneously threatening legal action against building shelters for homeless people, Tory. So he put John Tory and then that in quotes in the middle as his middle name. He's out. David is taking a dig at Toronto Mayor John Tory, who declared November 22nd National Housing Day, showcasing how the city was putting affordable homes at the forefront.
So the mayor said housing is a human right and then did this?
Yes.
Yeah,
And then
that's
said,
fucked up.
And then, said, don't come talk to me about affordable housing, and then ban free housing expensed by the community that you're now making feel like a bunch of wallflowers, right?
Well, yeah,
So-
if that's your original statement and original stance, then yeah, that's fucked up.
And Will, to your point, which you're
That's
arguing
not
a
my
little bit,
stance.
not their land, right? You're arguing a little bit not their land. This is the ultimate libertarian response to homelessness, which is relying on charity instead of government to take care of its people. Just putting that out there.
Yeah,
throwing that out
except for
there.
it's also like the local government has control of the
Doesn't seem like they're doing a good job.
I promised a flood. We'll get to here's the second internet comment from a Canadian here. It looks like one more on the internet. Squeaky Fox and Fall, Bubba, if you want to throw it up, says there's a guy in Toronto getting bitched at because he's making shelters for homeless people when the city should be thankful that he's doing something they won't. So way to go, Toronto City Council and Parks and Forestry Division. You just shocked the monkey. I mean, the fox. Sorry, the Squeaky the fox.
Peter Gabriel.
Khalil, that's the 13th Peter Gabriel song I've dropped, you idiots. Khalil the Carpenter has updated the Toronto Tiny Shelters
not that familiar
GoFundMe.
with his body of work.
Yeah, you're a big fan of his catalog.
I hit Will with the In Your Eyes.
Shock the monkey and In Your Eyes I should have got. But
Why would they need sledgehammers to put up these buildings?
I can see that's a good
Khalil
one.
the Carpenter has updated the Toronto Tiny Shelters GoFundMe to state that he has no plans to stop saying he's not stopping. He said the city has threatened to remove the shelters that we have been building, and I want to be clear that we are going to continue to build them. So he's going to keep going. But
it'd be good for him that he's trying to help out. I am just saying I'm not surprised that the city would stop him, and I wouldn't be surprised if the city just demolishes these things.
Just recycle them in fucking March after the fucking winter comes.
Here's my last sentence, which was a stretch.
Right, obviously that seems like a good middle ground.
Obviously, I mixed in the other songs pretty decently, but this one was a stretch. I said some local residents are afraid that crime will go up. The shelters. Because the shelters are in or near their neighborhoods, they don't want that red rain the participants of the Battle of Badon saw on Salisbury Hill.
Okay, so let me point some out here. I've known a long time you love Peter Gabriel, and I get that you've probably been itching for in the back of your mind to do some Peter Gabriel weaving, but it wasn't. The stretch was when it was Paul Gabriel who submitted the story, and you're like, I'm just calling you Peter, and then you ran with it.
Then I had an idea in my mind, and I found every Peter Gabriel song and put it into my story. Easy. Yeah, it's one of those 15 songs I mentioned. All right. Well, let's take. I
like we got a little discography of Peter Gabriel as well as what's happening in Toronto with these impromptu homeless shelters.
We'll keep you informed. It's a secret world those homeless live in.
Thank you, Mark. And Paul Gabriel or
Phil? It was Phil
Gabriel.
It's Phil Collins, his bandmate in Genesis.
Phil Collins. Now I'll do that. I'll do that another day. But let's take it over.
Feel it in the air tonight.
Arguably the better solo career from Genesis. I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. Let's take it over to Senator Shoshana with this nice interview we got lined up.
Welcome back to Hard Factor, the first ever 3-time guest on Hard Factor. Senator Shoshana representing East Virginia. Senator Shoshana, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming back.
Pleasure.
Obviously,
you're doing something right.
You know a lot of stuff that we don't, so it's good that you can come on and tell us about.
Well, yeah, it's not that hard,
Oh, it's hard.
More than us? Yeah, it's easy. Yeah,
that's true.
That is true. What I meant is knowing stuff is hard, so it's great to know people that know stuff.
Yeah, and if there's anything I know, it's stuff.
Yeah, so school us, dude. Let's go to school.
How's business? Is business booming now?
Yeah, business is booming. Lots of dumb laws being proposed. I'm not sure if you guys heard, but the Trump administration was like, oh, we'll rename Confederate statutes if you get rid of 230. But the thing is, there's no legislation on this thing that they want to get rid of that's passed the House and Senate. So it's not like it's gotten to him or it's gotten anywhere near him. He's just just do this thing and then we'll do this other thing.
Confederate statues were somehow tied to Section 230, which is somehow tied to big tech.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Can you explain?
Yeah, can you walk us through
Section 230 again to us, because it's been a while for us and maybe the listeners haven't.
Yeah. So the things are unrelated. Kind of all this stuff is unrelated. So as confused as you are is as confused as I am.
Okay.
But basically 230 just says if I do something illegal on Twitter, I'm liable for it and Twitter's not. Or if your mom has a blog and in the comments someone posts something that's illegal, like, you know, there could be child sexual exploitative content or just liable stuff like that. There's a wide range, but if they post it there and your mom doesn't see it, your mom's not liable. Even if she does see it and she's like, oh, I have to like go do
forum,
stuff.
right?
Right.
Public forum. Okay.
Exactly. Users post stuff, they're liable for it. A lot of politicians want to get rid of 230 because they think that it's enabling like big tech to be mean to them. It's not. That's free speech. But they still are worried about that and want to get rid of 230 for no reason. Like there's no real connection. And if you get rid of 230, big companies can kind of deal with it a little bit better. They're bigger, they have more legal resources, but the smaller ones are going to just stop having forums because it's like that liability isn't worth it. And the liability is only there if they touch the content ever at all. So
the hammer comes down on chat roulette. No more dicks on chat roulette when 230's gone.
Yeah, and like that's a great American pastime, and I just don't think that we should be in the business of stopping that.
Agreed.
I got some bad news for you guys, and chat roulette is not based in the United States. But so Shoshana, it's somewhat similar to like the Napster argument, right? Where it's like when Napster came out, Napster was able to be like, hey man, it's other people trading this stuff. We're just providing the platform for which that to take place. And also it is something that hasn't been there before. Like obviously there's been free speech law and libel law and slander law. But however, now everybody is their own newspaper, right? So like what would 230, what would it mean if 230 was removed? It would probably be the end of tech companies in some respects, right?
Yeah, basically. So what you'd see first is just small companies decide not to moderate at all, because it creates a moderator's dilemma when you don't have 230. And all that means is basically if you touch everything and you're super careful about what you let through, nothing's illegal, there's just no possible way, then you're not going to get sued because it's all legal. But if you touch anything and you accidentally let something get through that's illegal in some way, then you're liable for it. Even though you didn't create it, you didn't know it was illegal. So for small companies, it's just kind of hard to go through that, especially startups. And for big companies, there's billions of user posts. There's no possible way. I've even heard from certain companies that governments have asked them like, hey, this is dangerous content, take it down right now. While another agency will be like, hey, this is dangerous content, leave this up so we can track it. So even what's illegal is kind of up for grabs.
Wow.
Well, that's bullshit. Why is the government doing that?
I mean, it's government. It's always going to do that. It's just doing that more aggressively now.
Fuck
if
off
230
with all
goes, it sounds like it's big news for big moderators or people that write code for AI to moderate by itself. That's what it sounds like, because you'll have to get rid of a lot of comments.
Oh yeah,
and
be
stuff.
boot.
Oh,
business will be booming
yeah.
for like
you're going
people
to need
who
to staff up on
scrub it,
developers.
right.
Well,
Yeah,
this
But
brings up
that's
an interesting
bullshit.
question, though.
Why don't they just let it go? Because like it used to be, if you were just an asshole in the town square screaming at everybody, they probably just kicked you in the ass and sent you home and were like, didn't lock you up. Like they should just do the same thing now. Just like delete your tweet and then move on.
Hold on.
Not delete it.
Hold on. But
that's what they'd have to do if they got rid of 230. They'd have to delete your tweet.
Well, then leave it there. Then
the
just
reason
leave
they're
it there.
pissed though
and then
is
don't
because
get upset about it, people.
Twitter, of any platform, right? There's just hardcore porn on Twitter. Twitter's the most like you post it, it stays platform, with the exception of Twitter, right? Feeling a responsibility during the election to not cause riots or misinformation, to label Trump's tweets with this may or may not be correct here. It's a fact check, right?
That's obviously working out well with the emergence of Parler.
You're right, Pat. I saw a fleet of a body part. I don't even know what it was, but it was not PG-13.
Right, where like as like Facebook, for example, like they don't know whether they're like a platform, right, like Twitter, like a forum, or they're a media company that has a specific voice or agenda, as evidenced by their Facebook Watch, where they produce content.
Aren't they all platforms though? Because like to me, it seems like Twitter is introducing fleets just so that they look more like Instagram, so that they can't be considered like a monopoly. Is that
it's so you can fleet your dick?
Like,
that's what I told you this.
Yeah, fleets are a nightmare for if you get rid of 230, you get rid of fleets. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, they're fighting on two sides, because the Democrats are saying, well, you're monopolies, and then the Republicans are saying you're regulating free speech. Let's get rid of 230. So like, aren't they trying to all look more alike to like concede to the Democrats, and then also try to like I guess censor less to like make the Republicans happy?
Yeah, so they're all yelling at tech companies for different reasons, but then like you'll see media stories say, "Oh, they're in agreement." Yeah, like they're in agreement that they want to yell at tech companies.
Right.
Beyond that, there's no agreement. Like
It's
you'll
two
have it.
things that, yeah.
Yeah, in the same hearing, you'll have a Republican say, "Why did you take that content down?" And you'll have a Democrat senator say, "Why didn't you take that down fast enough?" And it's just like they're just yelling. The tech companies are in a hard spot. I'm not saying they're doing everything perfect. There's lots of decisions where I'm like, that's kind of dumb, but legal. Like they should be allowed to make dumb mistakes. If they fail, then like they'll go the way of MySpace, which I think is like music now. But like
it's nothing.
It's nothing. I thought it was still music. Last I checked, it's been a while.
They took it all down.
Shoshana, there was a sad day
really
about a year
did.
ago where MySpace purged their servers, and a lot of people's high school bands, their music was eliminated from the world completely.
Oh no!
It was a sad
Did
day.
Elbow Jockeys die that day?
Elbow Jockeys died that day. A lot of Pat and Eric Live died that day. Lots of stuff died that day. But hold on, Will, you're saying that the Republicans wanted to eliminate Section 230 is because they want more free speech, but eliminating 230 is an assault on free speech. It would implode the platforms.
Oh, they're saying that they should be liable if they're going to take up the role of moderator. Then they should be liable for the content that they put on. So if not, just don't delete, don't censor or anything at all, or alter anything. Is there, I guess, their point. And then on the other side, the Democrats are saying every single one of the social media platforms is a monopoly in its own way, which is why I believe that they're moving to be more homogenous, because that way they can all say, no, we're not, because we all offer the same exact fucking features.
It's fun too, because the Republicans are saying they're monopolies too, like so many monopolies competing against each other. And even if you want to go like the oligopoly route, like there's lots of other stuff you can use. If it's about messaging with friends, there's other places. Like, yeah, sure, Twitter has a monopoly on tweets and Facebook has a monopoly on Facebook users on Facebook time. But like short of that, there's like
it's the same things.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny too, because with like the free speech stuff, like 230 was made so that moderators could moderate, so that they could choose what they kept up and down. But then people sometimes pretend that that's not what 230 meant, even though it's like 26 words and it's very clear. Like the scholars on this are just constantly yelling, like, read the fucking law. A lot of you have not read this law. Like, just it's 26 words.
A lot of people are trying to make whatever they want out of 230. It sounds
you can tell that it's with Shoshana saying that both parties are at odds over it, and even the agencies are at odds over it. Like, so you
even
can tell
getting
that
rid of 230,
probably,
even
right?
getting rid of 230, both sides are going to be pissed still, it sounds
if everybody's mad about it, it's probably doing something that it should do.
Yeah, and it really is. I disagree with platforms all the time. They make decisions I wouldn't, that I think are naive or whatever, but like we should legally allow that. And so much of the time it's like content-based stuff. Like the politicians are mad about a specific piece of content.
Right.
That's a First Amendment issue, not like 230. Like they're mad that people are free speeching wrong online. And it's not great when you have Senate hearings and they're like, oh, your guy was mean to me. And I'm like, that's not an appropriate use of this hearing.
Yeah, it's easier to go ahead, Pat.
Do they bring up the fire in a theater argument? Because like, to me, what's interesting, right? So it's like you have free speech, right? Unless it causes danger. And the big legal argument is you can't yell into a crowded theater and yell fire. You can't do it because that's technically your free right to do that. However, it puts others in danger. In the same way that Donald Trump saying I won the election when he didn't, and it not being fact checked is kind of like yelling fire in a crowded theater. Like I didn't watch the tech hearings, but did anyone get into that with the 230?
You can yell fire in a crowded theater. That's a myth, but it's a really common myth.
First Amendment, baby.
Especially in the 90s, in the early 90s when they were promoting Backdraft. They would do that a lot, and they would bring in like the
grassroots.
Yeah, they would bring in. It was a grassroots. Yeah, so yeah.
It's funny too because during certain Senate hearings, like for judicial nominees, they literally like got that wrong. Like judicial nominees and senators don't know that, and it's like these are the guys who are like, oh, let's mess with free speech online really hard all of a sudden because we don't like what people are saying. And I'm like,
this is why we have you on, Shoshana, because like we're just bumbling morons, and then we need you to set us straight. So
yeah, we need a fact check Friday from Shoshana.
And then like on a more serious note, after watching Jack talk with that new goatee for like 16 hours in the last 2 months, do you think he's gone completely insane, or is it just a style choice?
I think it's a bad style choice. I think he tried for the quarantine beard, but instead kind of looks like a death metal rocker. And like, there's nothing wrong with that at all, but it's just a lot. Also, if Senate was yelling at my company for like 3 years, I would lose it. I would just lose it. I don't know what my hair could do next, but I would do something else with it. Maybe I'd like get some Rogaine here, grow out the beard, you know?
Do you guys add one? Okay.
Partying in San Francisco is like those guys and gals are on the cutting edge of everything. So like if Jack is coming out with that look, he took a drug we just haven't heard of yet.
You think it's going to be big in like a couple months? That beard will be taking
big time.
I think you're right. It was for quarantine look, but he ended up looking like omnipotent being from sci-fi series, like like old man that sees that sees into future. Yeah, like
a modern Gandalf.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Raven, century. The 3 Raven man guy. Yeah, it's like
so Shoshana, where's the big fighting regulation business right now? Like, where's the money coming from right now?
So it's kind of split. Like, I mean, the incentives for politicians to yell at big tech, it's just like, it's just because they know that it gets people riled up. Some guy's Facebook account got deleted because he like did something and then is upset and then calls his congressman, and then his congressman is like, oh, well, my constituent. Like, that's how this stuff happens. But the bad thing means that like we're fighting like as a country, or at least as people who believe in free speech online, like we're fighting that angry guy who you had to block because he was so fucking annoying. And then everyone blocked him because we just couldn't stand him. That guy is who we're fighting in this. Like how
why? Why don't you just let that guy talk? And then you have
because he's annoying. Like, I don't want to deal with that asshole. Like, do you want to, like, you gotta block people?
But the idea is that guy plus that guy plus that guy plus that guy plus that. It's controlling the idiots and the misinformation and the damage that can do. Right.
Well,
that's the question.
Okay. Like, look,
when you give every idiot now has a printing press, and unfortunately there are consequences for that. Unfortunately,
we might as well lock it down like Weibo. We should.
You don't want groupthink.
Just have everything.
You don't want groupthink. But what do you see? So there's been like three of these hearings now.
There have been many more hearings.
Right. Since we last talked, there's been like 3 or 4 of these hearings. What do you see happening with like a new administration between 1 and 4 years from now? Do you think anything's going to happen that's different in big tech?
So I think Biden's going to be lighter on it. His incentives differ a lot. I mean, even though the left is after 230 and he said stuff I really don't like against 230, like saying we should repeal it, I'm hoping that like his people haven't read him in fully on it, and like maybe they'll read him in and be like, do not do this. This is stupid for everyone.
Didn't his former comms director go to lead Twitter too? Like, won't they?
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was a Twitter guy.
Yeah, he was definitely
like 4 months
there's
ago.
A link there between his campaign team and
I hope
Twitter.
so.
Yeah, that guy's probably telling him about 230 right now.
There's for sure. It was in Politico before the election. Yeah.
That would make things way better. I mean, and to Twitter's credit, like more than I think most platforms, they've been like, this is going to hurt the little guy. Like, you're saying you want other people to succeed, then don't make us like actual monopolies by government like action, which is a thing that government does while purportedly like fighting other people.
If they took away 230, that's a great point. Like, it would make them, because they're, like you said at the top, they would be the only people who could afford the lawsuits, right? Would be
exactly. Right. And even though they'd have to change their practices, they'd probably just let less content through, but still a reasonable amount. I mean, there's a lot of ways it can go, so you never really know for sure. But if anyone's able to handle it, it's not going to be the guy who's like, oh, I have the next great idea. It's like, we're telling the guy in the basement, do you want to be sued? Because you're going to be sued.
Yeah. And with
Shoshana, are the 26 words you're talking about the no provider or user? Is that the one?
Yeah.
So it's no provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. That's it. So essentially,
the moderator clause.
Yeah, Twitter can't be held liable if you insult someone's mom, who's very powerful on their platform.
Right.
Yeah.
So it sounds like with a split chamber, right? Like Senate and House being Democrat, Republican, or I might have said that in the wrong order, but they're split chamber, and then Biden maybe being a little more lenient. Probably nothing is going to change.
I'm hoping, but you never know. I mean, there are bipartisan bills that go through, and I don't say bipartisan like happy bipartisan. I mean bipartisan like they came together.
Something done. Yeah.
Yeah, like we just want to do something, and I'm like, can you not do something? Because like one of the things they want to do is just like end encryption. It hardly plays in, but they have like this 230 encryption bill where they're like, oh, you can't secure your data anymore. And I'm like, Louisiana is hacked every like couple of months. Maybe we shouldn't have like government saying you can't secure stuff.
Oh, wow, definitely not. Right. Because it isn't Android just going to encrypted text right now. Like,
oh, it is. I didn't even see that.
Yeah. So that would
you don't want to start bad mouthing encryption. That's not.
Yeah, but they are. And that's the thing. I'm like, this is a good thing. It's funny too, because I taught, my dad's like my best friend. It's very wholesome, but he gets riled up about some of my stuff. But for whatever reason, he really cares about encryption. Like I'll just talk to him about whatever.
The
and
Fourth
he's like,
Amendment doesn't exist now that computers exist in the internet.
Big encryption guy.
Didn't the
he's a
Patriot Act just
cryptographer.
basically negate the Fourth Amendment now that we have all of our data on databases? I mean, like, I can see where he's coming from.
oh yeah, and that's another whole nother thing that I'm not even like well read in enough with, like third party doctrine, where it's like, what can government compel other companies give up of yours if they're holding it? And technically neither of you have interest into it. Although like there's some originalists who I kind of side with who say like, well, it's your stuff. Like even if a guy's holding your stuff, it's still your stuff.
Should be, in my opinion. I think Apple's one of the only big tech companies that actually abides by that, right?
That's the way I treat my Bitcoin, literally. That's Coinbase. That's the entire purpose. That's how Coinbase is being traded and how Bitcoin blew up.
Does he have a specific area of encryption he likes to talk about? Does he like talking about credit card encryption or anything like that?
He just wants to make sure that
Tokens?
government doesn't outlaw encryption. He just gets real. There's no reason. He's an English teacher. Like there's
Tell
no
your dad
reason.
to keep fighting the good fight.
Get him worked up on tokenization this holiday season.
Yeah. Does he ever do what my dad does, which is like if my dad needs to share a password to one of his accounts with me, he sends it in 7 emails. So like,
I love that.
does he do that? Maybe it's because he
No.
worked for the CIA and knows something I don't, but I'm always like, you're a tool, Dad. Just send it to me. No one cares.
I finally got my parents on like password managers, because for a while I knew all their passwords and I'm like, it has been the same for like 8 years. You can't do this. Like I shouldn't have all your passwords memorized. So they finally like.
I got shamed about my phone this week. My phone was like, your one of your passwords was like in a data leak. I don't know how they found this information.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's in my Apple like thing, and they're like, and it's related to 38 apps. The same password. So you
Mark's
might want to change
I know
your
which
password.
one that is. Everybody
Fuck.
who's known Mark for more than 5 years knows exactly which one that is.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mark's, Zuckerberg, though, he showed up to that November hearing oddly tan. Did he mention anything at all about did Zach Jack or Zuck, did they at all address their appearances?
No, they didn't. But what I would like, I think the optimal outcome is that Zuckerberg comes back for each, there will be more hearings, that he comes back each time a different color. Like maybe one time he's like purple, the next he's orange, polka dots. You can really have fun with it because there's going to be a lot.
Exactly.
And same for
He could look
Jack.
like Dr. Manhattan, like the blue,
Yeah.
the blue
Blue
paint.
man?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Do you think
And-
he's an alien or a robot below that skin suit that keeps changing colors?
Oh, I mean, we know robot. Like, don't ask me questions you already know the answer
All right.
to.
Yeah.
I was
fair enough.
thinking alien.
Fair enough.
I think he's an alien inside of a robot.
I think you're right. I think he's a robot, and then Elon, I think, might be an alien master of robots.
So Pat, you think he's like the guy, the tiny alien in Men in Black that's controlling a giant robot body?
100 or Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah,
okay.
it could be Krang. The brain in the
I
stomach.
like that.
Yeah.
All right.
But I just want them to keep showing up with more and more elaborate looks and see like which senator first says what the fuck, and then for him to play like, I don't know, like I don't know what you're talking about. Like
I hope has the senator addressed? No, they're too proper.
It's
They haven't
definitely a
asked
game
them
of cat
about
and
their
mouse
looks yet.
for someone to be like, well, why are we going to trust an idiot that looks like you? Yeah.
Do you think that that the two of them are like on the side being like, how ridiculous can we make ourselves look to finally get somebody to say something to us?
I would love that. But Senator Hawley did say something. He's like, oh yeah, it's like, I literally think it was that Hawley had said like, oh yeah, Jack like eats weed or something. And I'm like,
right
"That's-"
on Twitter. Yeah.
And I'm like,
I know
that's
it's weed he smokes.
like, you don't need to pretend that hard. Like you're overcompensating for not doing weed, bro.
Right.
Oh yeah, Howley's very proud of his.
Meet Jack in the
clean-cut
middle,
image.
Hawley.
Yeah.
But what else you got for regulation? Anything we need to think about this upcoming winter?
Yeah, I'm going back to a lot of the stuff I was doing early pandemic, just like making sure doctors can work across state lines, getting rid of laws we have that literally limit the amount of hospital beds we can have because of reasons. That's not great during a pandemic, and a lot of states have those laws. So a lot of stuff like that, just expanding access to care,
That's
small,
good work.
reasonable stuff. I know I'm pretty great,
Yeah.
Yes, you are. And
What are you doing talking to us?
Follow Senator Shoshana on Twitter and Instagram. Excellent follow. Always keeping us up with the latest and regulations and hiking too. The hiking pics were phenomenal this summer.
It's been fun. I'm glad the bear didn't kill me.
Whoa, you had a bear run in? That's right. I saw the pictures. Yeah,
it was 30 feet from me. I was like walking silently, comes out of the wood like an enormous grizzly, and I'm like, this could be it. Like, I think this might be it. So I go and I like try to pull out the bear spray, but first I get my vitamin water. Then I go to the other side and finally get the bear spray, and like I'm standing there because the bear had been walking towards me, and then it just like stares into my soul, and I'm there like an idiot saying like, "Hello, bear," because that's what you're supposed to do, and I'm like, I'm gonna die saying
to it like an idiot. No, they don't like that.
Like I'm gonna die talking to a bear like an idiot. Like I thought like that was how it was gonna end. Thankfully it didn't, but the bear then did that to a bunch of other people, and I was like shaking. I had to climb stuff and I couldn't climb it because I'm like still like shaking. And every time I heard a person, I'm like, bear fuck, like. But it was good. It was good. Build character.
Other than that, it was not bad.
Yeah, it was great.
The pictures you got were worth it too. So.
Oh yeah, it was great. I had like I was going Disney princess, like birds landing on my fingers and like seeing moose and babies and stuff. Like it was the fucking shit.
I hate to say it, but if you would come around on fleets, you could have. Those would have been great fleets. A bear,
they would have been
live
great.
action bear.
No, fleets. No. I'm not fleeting. I'm only fleeting. You're still fleeting, Mark.
My name is Fleetwood Mark. So yeah, okay. I think so.
What's your take on fleets, Shoshana?
I mean, I hate them, but I also hated like Snapchat, and it grew on me once they released the hot dog. Then I'm like, everything Snapchat is like, it's all worth it. Like there's a hot dog.
You haven't started loading your same videos to Snapchat, Insta Story, and fleets yet? You haven't started.
Oh no, you're right. I should automate all that.
I mean, you can just do all three because it's the exact same thing.
I'm going to hold the line until you guys come around on fleets. Don't worry.
Thanks, Mark.
I appreciate it. I'm going to keep fleeting the same video every day.
Yeah.
What are you guys fleeting?
One video every day.
Eclectic. Anything. I fleeted my pies I just picked up for Thanksgiving. And then I usually explain very simply. I said dessert fleet because, when you see the pies, you need more
Puts
context.
it in context. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's a good one. Do you guys happen to know? I should have checked before it came on, but is Fleetwood Mac on fleets?
They should be. They should be.
They should just like
Mark changed his moniker to Fleetwood Mark because
that's my new name on Twitter is Fleetwood Mark. But yes,
you should recruit them. Yeah,
they should be on Twitter just fleeting mac and cheese.
There you go.
An insult to a large, respectful body of work, Shoshana. It's an impressive body of work.
But they could put their song in the background though, and then it would be like.
What's the name of the guy that did the cranberry thing? The cranberry
Dogface. Guys, there's no fleets from Fleetwood Mac.
I haven't gotten quite the recognition Dogface has for his TikTok, but I changed my name to Fleetwood Mark. I'm just hoping that I get that bump that he got. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we have actually a political action committee that we're going to start. And it's called the Cunt Pack, the Citizens for United Tabulization.
You really got to remember what it is
like
when
that.
You throw cunt out
and
there.
it's
You really got to remember
how bad this election's gone. And so we think the Cunt Pack could really just like fix that. Also,
women love tabulization. Like it's I think women are really gonna like it.
I think they'll love the name of the pack as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's easy because when they say that's offensive, you go, not as offensive as the voting tabulation system. Yeah. And then you're in.
There you go.
Remember that?
Yeah, that was a little more offensive than a word.
I like that. I don't believe in like we shouldn't be able to say any words. Like I like swearing just because it's fun. But I feel like people still like pearl clutch sometimes, like, oh, not that word. And I'm just like, I don't. Why? Like I don't. Give me a good reason, sure. But like it's stupid. Like there's so many good words out there. Like why do we have to like ban them by society?
My mom texts me when we say cunt, so I'm expecting a text today.
Well, but that's the name of our pack of our political
I know.
action. Okay.
I don't think she's too happy about that.
Well, we have another one. We don't have a catchy name for it, but it's just about gambling and making gambling more legal in all phases, just everywhere.
There's some Twitter follows I have that are I'm libertarian enough where like there's always someone I'm following trying to make everything legal. So it's like if you want to legalize something, I can find you the guy for that.
Nice.
The gambling pack is named the Veiny Cock. It's a very long acronym. It's very long. It's hard. It would take too long to explain why it's called that. But There's a reason. Yeah.
I've got time.
Maybe just leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, Shoshana, thank you very much, as always, for joining us. First 3-time guest on Hard Factor, Senator Shoshana, representing East Virginia.
Have a happy holidays.
Thanks for having me. Enjoy Thanksgiving or else.
Yes.